Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick 2 or 3 minutes today on what's a gorgeous Saturday here in Utah and talk about something I think is really important for people to understand because it's something that does come up from time to time. And that is this idea of FDA approval when it comes to dietary supplements. So first, let me state that generally speaking, across the board, dietary supplements do not receive pre-market FDA approval. Meaning we don't have to go through a drug process to submit a product to the FDA, which takes 5 to 7 years, right, if you're talking about a drug, and then to release that to market. We don't have to do that. But that by no means implies that we're not regulated at all. So here's the truth about that. When you talk about dietary supplements and regulation, you're really talking about how the product's manufactured, what ingredients you can use, what you can say. All of those things are heavily regulated. So while you don't get pre-market approval for a finished product, what you do have is a set of standards for manufacturing, for sourcing, for quality control. All of those are summed up in a rather large document. And it's no different, right, than you're talking about food. You don't have to get pre-market approval for a food, but it has to be manufactured in a compliant way. It's the same thing for dietary supplements. They fall in that same category because we're not promoting it as a treatment or a cure for any sort of disease. So when we talk about that actual regulatory burden, it's quite high, right? When you talk about manufacturing, we couldn't just go to John's basement down the street and make dietary supplements. That's not how it works. There are so many rigorous standards when it comes to quality control and cross-contamination and sourcing and verifying that an ingredient is what it says it is, that every product should live up to a set standard. Now, that said, there's some bad actors which give the entire industry a bad name, but generally across the board, if you're choosing a reputable manufacturer and you're paying close attention to what your vendor's doing, if you really care about your products, then the quality is really second to none, right? It's very, very high. And there's a few retail companies that I can think of off the top of my head that live up to that. We are one of the direct sales companies that lives up to that standard. So when you think about that, when you get asked that question, the answer is, yeah, no, generally speaking, our products are not FDA approved. Dietary supplements as a whole are not FDA approved. But what is approved, reviewed regularly is the manufacturing process, the sourcing, quality control, all of those things. And if you violate that as a manufacturer, you receive warnings. After a couple warnings, you get shut down, right? You're given a chance to rectify those. But what we do to go above and beyond is we don't just leave it up to the contract manufacturer who makes the products. While we believe we have the best manufacturers in the United States, in the world, I would say, for dietary supplements. And I say that because, they're the largest custom contract manufacturer. They have, 90 plus QA, QC people. They're doing things like that. We impose our own set of standards above and beyond what their quality standards are, which their quality standards are second to none, right? They're going for food safety standards versus just standard dietary supplement standards. So it's a higher level. And then you go one step further than that, and we impose our own set of quality standards as well. We audit, and we will not hesitate to flunk someone on an audit. If they flunk on an audit, we're not going to make product with them anymore. But fortunately, we've never had to do that because we're generally very, very careful across the board about who we select as a partner. Now, we also go all the way back to sourcing. We select our raw ingredient suppliers very carefully as well. They are also audited on a regular basis. And then it goes a step beyond that, right? To talk about that quarterly quality control. Now, this is a step that 95%, 99%, I would say, of companies do not take because the cost associated with it, right? You have to really be committed to products that work, to be willing to outlay on a quarterly basis for a third-party QA/QC partner who's going to verify that every product is what it says it is. Every product is dosed accurately within 1%. Every product is free of certain heavy metals. Every product lives up to the standard that you've laid out. And then on top of that, we're just going to get that secondary verification of, making sure that the product does not contain any contaminants, any bacteria, anything like that, and that it's living up to shelf stability and all those kind of things. So when you put all that together, while no dietary supplements, generally speaking, are FDA approved, the process is very rigorous, and you can make it even more rigorous, which is what we intentionally do. Now, we take it a step farther, and there's some initiatives that we're having underway that go even far and beyond as far as interacting with the FDA and making sure everything's, making sure all the quality of the products, all of the standards, all the spec are exceeding their expectations by 120, 150%, right? We want to be on the leading edge of that quality statement. So there's some initiatives we have underway, and you guys will see those in the next year. But we're constantly seeking to improve the quality control. We're working with the best manufacturers, working with the best raw ingredient vendors, and that's really where it starts. So while the actual product in finished product itself is not FDA approved, the whole process is FDA regulated heavily. And then the actual finished good is tested by a third-party QA/QC partner, who, by the way, also is a QA/QC facility for pharmaceuticals. So they have also an extremely high level of expertise in this area. So we're very, very attentive, very, very careful when it comes to the quality of our products, when it comes to the efficacy of our product. We want to make sure that no matter what you got when you first started is the exact same as the person who starts 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. There's no difference across the board in the product that person is getting. And I can comfortably say that I believe our quality initiatives line up with the best of them and exceed a lot the 95 percentile of the industry. Now the goal is to exceed everybody, and we push for that on a daily basis. And fortunately for us, we have fantastic ownership and a board who's very open to that sort of capital expenditure, which is not the case at a lot of companies. So again, to add that in, it really all adds up to a product that I believe is second to none. And I could not be prouder to stamp, my seal of approval on everything that we do here. And I think that speaks volumes to the product quality and efficacy. All right, guys, I hope that was good information for you. I hope you can go share that with a brand new person so they can understand that while dietary supplements are not FDA approved, the process is heavily regulated, and then we go above and beyond that even further. All right, everyone, have a great Saturday. I will see you all on Monday.